So I'm staying with him in his house. So I'm not in any of the parishes. And he's still in the Philippines, enjoying his vacation. He'll be arriving at the end of the month. So I finished my priesthood in vegan. So I belong to the Diocese of Lawag in Ilocos Norte. So I was working late there. My parents worked there, so we were there. So I was given the topic, love and sacrifice. The first thing that came to mind when I was given this was immediately the sacrificial love of our Lord Jesus Christ. Before we start, let's start with listening to the passage from the Gospel of John in chapter 15. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Greater love has no man, and this the man laid down his life for his friends. You are my friends, if you do what I command you. No longer do I call you servants, for the servant does not know what his master is doing. But I have called you friends, for all I have heard from my Father I have made known to you. You did not choose me, but I chose you, and appointed you that you should go and bear fruit, and that your fruit should abide, so that whatever you ask the Father in my name, he may give it to you. This I command you, to love one another. I have a 6-page talk, but I will try to compress it. I know it's 9 o'clock already. Some of you might also. So I started with this because love, I was thinking more in preparation for Lent, trying to reflect on the Paschal mystery, the passion, death, and resurrection of our Lord. It did not enter my mind about Valentine's Day. That's why we have, as Rene told me, more connection to Valentine's too. So there's love. What bothered me, or like what came to mind, what I was thinking when preparing for this talk, love and sacrifice. Love is supposed to be joyful. Love is supposed to be happy. And then you put it side by side with sacrifice. How can you reconcile these two? Love and sacrifice. And I was thinking more of sacrifices like the Old Testament, where they kill animals, burn them as offerings. To something that is painful, dying, and suffering. But then, if we look at the word sacrifice, it comes from two Latin words, sacra and facere, meaning to make sacred, to make holy. And when we speak of sacrifice, usually what we think is an offering to God, to a deity, as an outward manifestation of veneration for Him and with the object of attaining communion with Him. So, how do we reconcile? How do we see this in our life? How should we understand love? How can love be a sacrifice when something joyful? Or how I put it, it's, why would we see love as a sacrifice? Or why should it be always a sacrifice when we love? So this is what I like to move into for us. First, we look at love in the active sense, not in the passive sense. Many times when I give homilies and weddings, I always remind the couple and everyone present, love is active, it's not passive. Love is, you give it. You give it. So, this the idea. The love that we're talking about is the active kind of love. The one that we are asked to share, to give. And it's giving love, sharing love, and loving. I believe that when Jesus commanded us to love, he was speaking in this sense. For if you love yourself, it means that you appreciate the love that is in you, that all of us has received from God, or felt from God. And since God's love is overflowing, and flowing, and always altruistic, that is meant to be shared. For people who are lovable, they are easy to love, they are easy to accept, to embrace. But then, this love is also asking us to love those that are not unlovable, those that we cannot love, those that we cannot embrace. Somebody said that God showed the ultimate expression of his love for us during that time when we were his enemies, when we were unlovable, and when we were killing him. God showed his ultimate expression of love, not when we were his friends, but when we were his enemies, nailing him on the cross. The ultimate expression. So, we know that the love that probably you're expecting me to share is the Christian kind of love. And C.S. Lewis, in his book, The Four Loves, gives us the description of each. He enumerated 4 kinds of love. The first one is storge, meaning affection. Affection is thunderous through familiarity, brotherly love. So the relation between brothers and sisters, between family members, or people who have otherwise found themselves together by chance. So this is storge. Then the second one is philia, friendship. Philia is a love between friends. Friendship is a strong bond existing between people who share common interests or activity. He described friendship as the least biological, organic, instinctive, gregarious, and necessary for our lives. Our species does not need friendship in order to reproduce. He uses this point to explain that friendship is exceedingly profound because it is freely chosen. And the third one is eros, romance. Eros is love in the sense of being in love or loving someone. So with the word comes the erotic and everything. This is distinct from sexuality, which Lewis calls Venus. Although he does spend time discussing sexual activities, especially he and Eros is indifferent. It is Venus that desires a sexual aspect of a relationship, while Eros longs for the emotional connection with the other person. And the last is agape. Probably you have heard this already, agape. Unconditional love. Charity is a love that brings forth caring regardless of the circumstance. So, love and sacrifice topic is more speak about agape, being Christians, being in any kind of relationships. We are the highest, and he said this is the highest form of love, the agape. And in marriage, many times when I usually explain this agape. If couples don't have the agape kind of love, then marriage would not last. Would not last. Because, I'll explain later on. And then William Barclay is a Protestant theologian. He has this volumes of exegesis on the New Testament, the Gospel, the letters, the Acts of the Apostles, the Apocalypse. We were using him, although he was a Protestant theologian. His insights were beautiful.